And that's what we're dealing with. And is that kind of what the argument's getting at? Is that the desires we have are ultimately like not worship alone, but like it's pointing to the fact that's of something that can only be fulfilled in heaven or completely lost in hell.
Again, I hate to keep quoting from this essay, but I really don't think I could say it better than one of the premier Christian apologists who ever lived. So if you'd excuse me, he says, heaven, he's talking about heaven, to receive life, we receive now life from God, like you were talking about, Eric, at 1,000 different removes, right? So we receive life from our ancestors, we receive life from the elements, from our food, those faint far-off energies that God's majestic glory and his creative rapture implanted in creation at the beginning of time. We receive life from all of those different removes. Kind of the argument from contingency, like I'm receiving nourishment from water and the waters from the well, and go all the way back. It's from God's grace. However, what would it be to sit and taste at the fountainhead, that stream which even the lower reaches are so intoxicating? The whole man is to drink joy from the fountain of joy itself.
Yeah.
Think about, and we are both married, and we both see beauty in nature and in the opposite sex, and how intoxicating to see the golden sunrise, but to see without limitation the unmitigated origin of the sunrise itself, the unmitigated origin of all human beauty, the ultimate origin of all human pleasure, unmitigated. The thought is almost too much to bear.
Yeah, exactly. And that, it's not like anyone really thinks about that. Even people that say they follow Christ, no one really thinks about that much. Unless you're being persecuted, or unless you're in some sort of desperate trial, emotional, physical, or otherwise, from God, then you think about it. You don't really have a choice. But normally, no.
Normally, and Eric, you're going down the last page of this. It's almost perfectly. Every point you're making, Lewis is also kind of echoing back at you. Meanwhile, the cross comes before the crown, and tomorrow is a Monday morning. A cleft has been opened in the pitiless walls of the world, and we are invited to follow our great captain inside. So the cross comes before the crown. Day in, day out, we're bound by gravity, hunger, these unmet desires, everything, that we're kind of bound, the contingencies of life. But we can rest assured in the reality that we're Christians, Christ entered into the mundane life. He entered into the mundane life. And it's interesting. Christ was almost a decade older than me and 5 years younger than you, Eric. And so it's something where it's like, Christ entered into the physicality of the day-to-day, and he walked with us in the banality, in the suffering. And so when, unlike the Muslim, when we go before Christ as judge, he can look at us as our brother and say, I walked in the dust of the earth. I was there with you. And so all of this to say that we are forever interacting with those who have been created by God and whose lives will never end. And so last thing I'll quote from the essay, or second to last, he says, it is a serious thing to walk in the company of prospective gods and goddesses. Isn't that interesting?
I mean, without a context, this sounds kind of Mormonish, but...
Well, here's what he's saying. He's saying...
I think I know what you mean. Is this closer to the Orthodox idea of, what's it called?
Theosis.
Theosis.
He's making an argument even less theological than that. He's saying, in the end, all of us, you and me, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we go to hell, we will be creatures utterly beyond reproach. If we saw a creature damned to hell, they would be so grotesque, so hideous, so unspeakably horrifying that that type of creature, if we see it now, it's only approximated in a nightmare.
I actually had the image as you were going through this of a zombie.
I think it'd be even more horrifying than a zombie. A human soul collapsed completely upon itself is, it's more something like Lovecraftian. It's more something demonic than that. It's like,
I suppose the absence of all goodness, all image of God, all sustaining grace, all common grace, everything. That, yeah, you're probably right.
Like Lewis says, it would be akin to something that if we met it now, it would only be in our most dreadful nightmare.
Yeah, if even that.
And he also says that if we saw a soul glorified in heaven, their beauty would be so resplendent, they'd be so unified with their creator, with the source of all beauty and goodness, that we'd likely be prone to worship them because their beauty would be so resplendent, right? So this kind of gets into the company of saints, but that's neither here nor there. It's something similar where it's like, it's a saint, someone glorified, someone united to God, would be something similar to what we imagine Zeus to be, or Hera.
I get what you're saying. Yeah,
they would be like a god. We'd be tempted to worship them because their beauty would be so resplendent. But he's saying that is the fate of each and every one of us. There are no mere mortals, and we are perpetually surrounded by perpetual gods and goddesses, or perpetual monsters and hell nightmares.